I know we're dealing with shorts here, but on a coolish day in downtown St. Catharines, but I refuse to relent. I refuse to give up. I have faith that summer is here. Even though it's not officially summer, I have vowed to act like it's summer. Welcome, by the way, to Season 3, Episode 23. We are back in the saddle here at Fiddler's Poorhouse, 149 St. Paul Street, St. Catharines. We are fueled by Gale's Gas Bars, as per usual. We are powered by WeeStream, and Kevin Jack, our executive producer, will join us shortly. And also powered by Performance Heating and Air. Carlo and the gang, thanks for still being here. Mark Shirk and the gang also at Verge Insurance here in St. Catharines as well, serving Niagara since their inception many, many years ago. So welcome to the show. We have pretty much a wide open show coming up for you today. As we just thought, coming off last week's election show that we did on Thursday night, we're just sort of getting back into the swing of a normal kind of production here on Niagara 411 Live, and we thought we'd give you plenty of opportunity. There might be a lot of things for you to say or have a comment on with regard to the election. There are many other local things going on. There's a 4% accommodation tax going on in overnight accommodations for St. Catharines. The Niagara on the Lake noise bylaw has been updated. Yay! Also, they've got their own tax situation going on there. Just a whole bunch of things that have been a cumulative effect of news bites over the past week, actually over the past 2 weeks, because last week we did definitely dedicate the show to a live version of the election coverage, which we were really pleased with, and we'll chat about that and more. Just don't forget, you can join the show when we get down there. Click on the link on the bottom of the page and come on and chat with us about anything you want. All right, see you in 30 seconds. Hello. I almost completely misplaced the earpiece here, which is almost impossible to do since it's actually connected to me. It is virtually impossible to lose it when it's actually pinned to your person. But hey, if I'm going to screw something up, I do it properly. Again, welcome back to Fiddler's Poorhouse. We gave the poor staff here at the Poorhouse a break last week by not being here, but it sure is nice to be back, Kevin. Doesn't it feel a little bit like coming home?
Yeah, it is nice to be back. And we didn't coordinate this, but you and I both wore the Tory blue today. I guess it's a blue wave across Ontario, save Niagara.
You know what? It's just that I have a lot of blue. I have a lot of blue clothing, and I have this nice Beau Chapeau blue hat as well, which is always nice for coordination. And Kevin Jack, ladies and gentlemen, is the other person you see on your screen. He is the co-founder, along with Brandon Scram, of WeeStreem, Canada's premier, and I do mean that, streaming company, and of course the brain trust behind this program. How's your week been, Kev? We kind of took a strange break because we did our election live show last week. What's going on with you? You okay?
Yeah, feeling a little better. People either know me or following the show. I had arthroscopic knee surgery about 4 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Just in the last week, I'm starting to feel a little more normal, can cut the lawn again, started working on the deck once again, assembling things in the backyard, starting to feel normal for the first time in 4 months.
Yeah.
So it's really liberating. And I'll tell you, if my wife is watching, now's a really good time to get me to do stuff because I'm just happy to do anything.
Yeah, add to the honey-do list. Honey do this, honey do that.
Yeah. And how about you, Lee?
It's been fine. We did have a little bit of a mishap in our family, and not to put too. I mean, I don't want to out her or anything. She didn't do anything wrong, but my my lovely wife decided in the middle of the night to take a stroll too close to the flight of stairs that goes from our upstairs to our next level, and broke a heel.
Oh, ouch.
That is not easy to do. It takes a lot of impact to break a heel, but nevertheless, that's what she did. It was just a few days ago, and has some other, I guess, internal bruising or whatever. Anyway, she's in a fair bit of pain, and I had to make sure I did double duty before I left the house today, because I make sure she's got the water, she's got the paper, she's got the crossword puzzles, she got because it's hard for her to get around. So anyway, my thoughts and love go out to her today. It's not fun, because she likes to be active. She hates being bored.
I really feel, as much as my knee has been kind of buggered up for 4 months, anybody with like a walking boot, or if you've broken your heel or your foot, that's just debilitating. I really feel for her. It's difficult to get around. Crutching starts to hurt under your armpits after a while. It's, even getting to the kitchen and back, and you want to get a drink. Well, how do you get a drink from A to B? It's all really
so
difficult.
we had a nice little stay in the St. Catharines location of Niagara Health Services over on 4th Avenue. I think we got there about 11, as in the PM, and we left at about 6:30 in the AM. Well, I left, and then I had to come back.
All right.
So
that'll.
But you know what? And the reason I kind of went here is because one of the big issues, of course, in the past election campaign was healthcare. On a lot of different levels. The COVID thing, but just regular health care, if you want to call it regular. And I have to say, yes, wait times are long, but once you're in the system, there is no question that the health care that we receive here, or that we received for sure, in the St. Catharines Hospital, was second to none. All the people are just absolutely terrific. They are in good humor. They're not miserable. They're not overworked, or they're probably overworked, but they're not making it look like they're overworked. They're very, very attentive, and I can't say enough about the actual people that are involved with healthcare in Niagara. You're all the best.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Lee. I know we want to talk election results and what happened here in Niagara, but off the top of the show, we let everybody know that it's wide open. If anyone wants to come on the show, just click that Zoom link and you'll come into the green room, and Gail has done so. So let's kick it off. Welcome Gail onto the program.
That's the Zoom link. Gail, welcome back to the show. We've talked with you before.
Yes, and I'm so excited to be back. I've got some great news.
Do you?
And yes, I do.
Okay.
And
I'm struggling a little bit with my my hearing, so.
Yeah, I'll come around and hook you up for that. But Gail, why don't you tell us your good news?
Yeah, tell us what's going on.
And I'll figure out Lee.
Well, as you said, Lee, it is summer, whether we want to just jumpstart it or not. But this summer, and every summer except for the 2 years of COVID, I have coordinated international students coming to the region and to Ontario. So since the year 2000, I've been helping students from France and Spain come to Ontario and live with Canadian families to share their culture, the Canadian culture and the French culture, with each other. And so usually we have about 150.
Yeah, can I interrupt you for just a second? I'm gonna just do a little thinking on my feet here. Kevin, maybe we do have it now. Awesome. I'm sorry, I interrupted you for nothing. You may continue. Thanks, Kevin. Go ahead. Go ahead, kiddo.
Usually we have 150 to 200 kids from France and Spain that come to Ontario to learn English and become part of a Canadian family, and for 3 or 4 weeks. And it's an exciting program. And this year, finally, we've got students coming back. I have 50 students from France coming in July. And so I need host families.
Okay.
Who will be excited to share their Canadian culture and our lifestyle with a student from France.
All right.
All the
Now,
students I have this year.
What are the ages of these students again?
13 to 17.
Okay.
So they come and they stay exclusively with a family. They do not go out to classes.
Okay.
So the host family gets a package of 10 ESL, English as a Second Language, lessons. It's a little booklet that they can work through with the students or just use as an outline of ideas for things to talk about. And so the family, if they're going camping or cottaging or whatever, they can take the student with them. They don't have to drive the student to and from classes. They can just have their normal family time and share it with a student from France.
I remember years ago, and it's probably the name of the program has completely changed, but in my day, it was, I think, referred to as the Student Exchange Program. And it was like one child from this family would be exchanged with a child from another. It's like they stayed with each other's families. Do you remember that?
Right. That's a reciprocal program.
Right, okay.
Ours is not a reciprocal program. Right. However, I know every family that I've ever worked with that has hosted students have been invited to come and visit their families of their students in
I think
France.
it's a wonderful thing.
Oh, it's fabulous, especially since we've been shut down for so long.
Yeah.
And being able to have our children exposed to a world-class experience. What is it like in another country? What are their schools like? What are their culture is very different and yet the same. I mean, they're all kids.
Yeah, I find it interesting when I've talked to families that have done something like this. Again, not just like your program, but just watching the day-to-day habits of people from other cultures is educational, because they'll often do a lot of things the same, but then other things not so much. It's amazing to watch.
Something that strikes me every year when the students come is one of the things that we all have in our homes, most of us that aren't allergic to peanut butter, is peanut butter. Peanut butter is a normal subsistence item, right? They don't have it in France. It's not in
They
the
don't do
grocery
peanut butter in France?
It's too expensive.
I'm not going there.
They are shocked to see that we have peanut butter.
So you're looking for 50 host families.
Yeah.
Okay, and is there some sort of questionnaire they have to fill out, or some sort of qualifications they have to meet?
There is a questionnaire, and I have it on. I can drop the link in the comments because it's just a 7-minute questionnaire on how many people in your home, whether you have pets or not, because I try to match the student profiles with the family profiles. So when I know what activities the families like to do, I try to match them up with the students. So activities and interests, and allergies. So of course we have gluten-free families, we have Jewish families, we have Jewish students, we have Muslim students that come in. So we really need families of all walks of life.
Okay.
And the most important thing, though, because this is a homeschooling program where the family teaches the student the English, they can't both be out working. They can work from home, right? They can't leave the kids alone, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you don't want latchkey kids from France.
Exactly. International latchkey program.
You know what? That makes you wouldn't want to bring one of these students over, for example, and put them to work being a babysitter for you, your daycare.
Exactly. However, if you have a home-based business or your own store or your own restaurant or whatever your business is,
right.
We have lots of families that have their own businesses, and they take the kids with them.
Take a Frenchman to work day.
Yeah, and they get to interact with the public. They get to learn how to introduce themselves in English, and it really sparks their language comfort level, because that's what it's primarily about, is the conversational English. Because
Yeah.
that's very different from a classroom style of English.
Well, that would be interesting, especially if you're in kind of a retail environment or a place where there's a lot of interaction. Even if it's a restaurant or some place like that where you're interacting with different people all the time.
We had students come and stay with a family that operate a pizzeria here in St. Catharines
Right.
last year, or
Yeah.
2 years ago, and 2019. And that girl learned how to make the best pizzas and had an absolute joyous time. And what we have happening, and which is one of the reasons why we need more host families every year, is that the students end up coming back to the other families, and then they're not available to host.
Right, I see what you mean. Yeah, they come back for vacations. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, Gail, you're going to post a link.
I will.
On the screen to
Yes.
or in the comments here to ensure that people can get in
Yep.
touch with you if they want to be a host family. And thanks for clicking in. It's a great program. Glad it's happening, and I hope you get all your kids situated soon. So that's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, have a
it's
great week.
It's great to see you back at the.
Oh yeah, back at
Fiddler's
home
Poorhouse.
base here at Fiddler's.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
All right,
You
kiddo.
take
Thank
care,
you.
everybody.
Thanks, Gail.
Bye.
Yeah, what an energetic woman. She's involved in so many things when it comes to students and positive student experience. I think she's quite the lady. Kevin, as you were talking about, here's something. Your family. Now I know you and your wife both work, so it would be kind of awkward. But your two children are in French immersion.
They're actually straight French school.
Straight French school? Yeah. Okay. And your wife, of course, is of French heritage.
Oui, monsieur.
Yeah. So I think the Jack family would be just a wonderful place for one of these people, because, I mean, you can mesh these cultures magically.
You're probably right, but I don't know if it's on our radar right now with a pretty active 8 and 7-year-old at home. By the way, Alex turned 7 there at the end of May.
Hey, Alex, happy birthday, buddy.
Big happy birthday to Alex. We went down to VR Wonderland at the Penn Center, the virtual reality,
Oh, yes.
and had a great time. They do a great job there at hosting birthday parties, and everybody has a blast as they're whisked away into virtual reality Wonderland.
So cool.
Is really what it was.
Well,
So,
happy birthday to Alex.
yeah, thank you very much. We also missed my mother's birthday, which was on Election Day. So it was nice of the entire province to grind
Throw
to a
a
halt.
big party?
Yeah, threw a big party for my mom. So happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom. Speaking of moms, Nick's mom, hello. And to Nick at Niagara 411, our content sharing partner here, and to all of you who do contribute to Niagara 411. One of the things Kevin and I were talking about earlier is the fact that there is, of course, the homepage of Niagara 411, which is it's the homepage, the main post that Nick puts up there. But then there's, if you go over one, there's the community tab.
Here, hold on. I'll catch up here. So
put it up there. See
here's
there?
what people are used to.
There's Niagara 411. That's the page that we would refer to as would just come up if you Googled it or searched it or
There you go.
whatever. However, see that if you go to the top there again, you've got the home site on the left-hand side, and you've got a community tab. And often people will post directly to that tab, and there's some information in there often that you would be interested in. So don't forget to click on that tab from time to time. For example, there's a story there that I'm sure will cause some conversation. Fairview Cemetery in Niagara Falls has informed this person, Dee Dee Magda, that the trees, and aren't they beautiful trees, that are next to her grandparents' grave are going to be ripped out because they're over 3 feet tall. And all cemeteries have regulations. This is not exclusive to Fairview. All cemeteries do have criteria that they follow. These trees have been there since 1975. My grandmother placed them there after my grandfather passed as a memorial He was a WW2 veteran who originated from Ukraine. And of course, this is very close to the hearts of the family, and I understand that. Maybe they'll come to some sort of agreement or whatever. But these are the kinds of things sometimes that sometimes emotionally will strike you if you go onto the community page at Niagara 411, because some of these stories don't make it over necessarily to the other side. But
Look at that. That's beautiful.
that is a beautiful memorial to grandparents, to family, and it's a shame. There are reasons why these cemeteries have their rules and regulations, but anyway, that's just something that families have to deal with at some point in time. I'm going to rewind to the election just for a bit. It's not like this is the only place you've heard about the election. You're probably tired of hearing about it. However, what I wanted to do is I wanted to thank those that tuned in. I think we had 4,000 or 5,000 viewers for a live stream last Tuesday, which is a very nice number of viewers to have. And of course, that was our map. That was our constituency map of representative parties. And it didn't change. That's the same one that we had in 18.
In 2018, yeah.
So, of course, Niagara West was Sam Oosterhoff, number 1. Niagara Central is Jeff Birch, NDP. That's number 2. Around in number 3, where Wayne Gates goes into term number 3. In Niagara Falls.
Actually, I think it's term number 4.
Is it 4 now?
Yeah, we thought it was 3
I
on
thought it was
election
3.
night.
Is it 4 now?
That's what I read.
Well, and there was a lot of discussion after the fact that considering the fact that Andrea Horvath stepped down as leader of the party that night, she has, in her words, passed the torch. There is discussion, there have been questions asked of both Birch and Gates as to whether they would consider a bid for the leadership of the NDP, and both of them took the high road and said, that's too early to tell. But I don't think either one of them would totally say no. They'd have a lot of consideration to do and find out what kind of support they had in the party. But the next leader of the NDP for the province of Ontario could very well come from Niagara.
Yeah, I think Wayne fits the bill, so to speak. You know, you're given his background as a union rep for General Motors workers.
He has the
here.
DNA for it, that's for sure.
And I mean, he's got a look, right? It's funny. My daughter, who's all of 8 years old, driving through Niagara ahead of the election, asked who's the guy with the giant mustache, and would literally complain to us that his mustache is too big. Daddy, his mustache is the way that an 8-year-old would, right? That's just too big. And explaining that he's actually well known for it. He's done a good job over the years of standing up in Queen's Park and pounding his fist.
He's thumped the Bible. No, but I mean, look what nice hair did for Justin Trudeau. Wayne has nice hair.
And look what no hair did for Stephen Del Duca.
There you go. Not to throw Jeff under the bus. I mean, Birch is also this is his second term that he got elected for. Doesn't have the pedigree or the length of experience that Wayne Gates does, but
he also doesn't have the dynamicism. Is that a word?
Dynamism?
Sure. He's not as a dynamic a personality as Wayne.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Okay.
And that's no offense to Jeff. Not everybody is cut from the same cloth, but I think, at the NDP, they seem pretty happy to be the bridesmaid and never the bride, and to have somebody that can stand up and yell and scream.
I know they've always been exceedingly active. I was going to say effective, but I don't know how effective it's been. They've been exceedingly active in the role of opposition. But being an opposition is a very easy thing to do, because all you have to do is do thumbs down on everything, and you've done your job. Don't forget number 4, Jenny Stevens, reelected for her second term in office as an MPP with the St. Catharines riding in the province of Ontario, where, here's the smooth segue, the voter turnout sucked. Where was everybody? I was talking about this when we did our show on Thursday night, on election night, and it seemed to me, and I didn't have all the stats at my fingertips, but as it turned out, I was right in the fact that it seemed like a really, really low turnout when we were doing the show. And next day, all the headlines, once all of the statisticians did their calculations, it turned out to be the lowest voter turnout in Ontario provincial election history, with approximately 43% of eligible voters in the province of Ontario turning out to vote. And of that 43%, 40% voted for the PCs. And that fueled the Ford machine to take office for another 4 years with an even larger majority. It's one thing for the party in power to return to government, but to increase their majority is, Kevin, not normal. It's not normally accepted results because they've had 4 years to screw up something and they tend to lose a little bit of support. So even if they were to come back with a majority government, often it's fewer seats, but not in this case. Like they gained 3 or 4 seats over what they had the last time. The Liberals got absolutely decimated. They're not even an official party with 8 seats. We've got 1 independent and NDP, I think, with 31. I think that was the number. So,
I mean, breaking it down to basics, Lee, you have a premier that was on the tip of everybody's tongue and on TV with eyes glued every day for about 1.5 years or 2 years.
And on every TV, and on every radio, and on every... I mean, let's put it this way. COVID was probably the best thing that ever happened to Doug Ford's political campaign and career. COVID wasn't good for a lot of businesses, but it was sure good for the ruling party in Ontario.
It wouldn't surprise me, Lee, if you see that mirrored, I don't want to say across Canada, across North America, but where you have a lot of the leaders that were holding these daily press conferences during COVID re-elected. And why is it you can't buy that publicity? On the flip side of it, I mean, the Liberals just ran, I don't know if it's historically the worst campaign, but you got Del Duca, who just kind of
he's not charismatic as a politician. I mean, and I know that shouldn't count.
But it matters.
It does matter, but he's not a very charismatic personality.
It doesn't matter when it comes to doing the job, but it matters when it comes to getting votes.
Yeah. And Andrea, and I think the reason that Andrea Horwath has been around as long as she has as a leader is because she does have that charisma. She is a good speaker. She is a forceful personality in the party, and she's a nice person. People like Andrea, and they think of Doug Ford, of course, as grassroots, like they did his brother Rob when he was mayor of Toronto. They think of these people as Mr. Everyday. You know, he's just a guy. He's a guy that wears a suit, but he's just a guy. Just like you're a guy. That's not true, because their family comes from a fair bit of success in business and all the rest of it. But that's how they come across. They come across as Doug Everyman Ford, as Rob did, and the others just didn't quite make the cut on that. I do believe that the race for, or the competition for, whatever you want to call it, for leadership of these two parties is going to be really, really interesting. And make no mistake about it, I sometimes think that parties don't think long and hard enough about the profile of the person they want as their leader. I think sometimes, Kevin, they work the other way. They work the wrong way around. They look at the people they've got, and they say, like, well, who's the smartest, who has the most experience, who might be able to raise the most money because he has the most connected friends, or whatever, and how many of the currently elected MPPs support this person. I think it's totally the wrong way to go about it. I think you bring like a police sketch artist up in front of your caucus, and you draw the picture of the person, the man, the woman, the whoever it is, and you build a profile of that's the perfect NDP leader right there. That's the liberal. This is your textbook liberal. This person, man, female, whatever. And then you go looking around your party to find it. You work backwards.
I couldn't agree more, Lee. I honestly believe that the position has turned into more of a brand ambassador than anything else. All you are is the person at the top of the pyramid. You don't need to make policy. You just need to deliver policy.
Yeah. And the best thing, be an incredible speaker. Be an incredible orator.
Yep. That's it. Look good on camera.
And you've already got, you're already 3/4 there.
I had this conversation last week with actually somebody that ran locally and trying to say what went wrong. I said, you know what? People build themselves in a bubble and they don't understand how people vote. And I think a lot of people take one look at Stephen Del Duca and go, nope.
They do not vote because of your resume.
They don't. And politicians still think that people do.
But you don't. But what was on Stephen Del Duca's resume hurt him, didn't help him. He was tied in with Kathleen Wynne. He was a minister in her cabinet, and he still is trying to scrape the tar off that brush.
I know somebody else that's pretty politically connected was talking to me about, Doug Ford just went out and promised this and promised that, and he'll never deliver. I'm like, right, who cares? Don't you realize it doesn't matter? Like, it really doesn't matter anymore. I think we expect that of politicians.
Ironically,
I mean, it's such a low bar, but I don't care.
Ironically, there were some speeches after the election where Doug Ford came out and said, here's what we promised. We promised this, we promised this, we promised this, and we're going to do it. Well, we'll see. The fact checkers out there will definitely hold their feet to the fire, and we'll see whether that happens. But even he acknowledged that they made promises. And now, so that's one thing. You've got the leadership person. You got the person that people are voting for or not voting for. And again, with the Canadian system of democracy, you either vote locally or you vote provincially. I think in this case, and I think almost always when people go into the ballot, go into the voting booth, they're thinking about the leader of the party. I really do think they're thinking of who's going to be the premier, unless you've got a personal relationship with your person, or the person in your riding has been there for so long, like a Jim Bradley or something like that. But by and large, I think the leader is kind of sitting on your shoulder, but not always. The other elephant in the room, Kevin, is the fact that we still use an antiquated style of voting, in spite of the fact that it's electronic. You still have to be on site, be it a pre-vote, be it an early vote, be it the day of elections. You've still got to be on site. You've still got to put your body into a polling station to place a vote. And if voter turnout is to increase, I am 100% convinced it has to move partially at least, or the availability of online. Has to.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I would go a step further, Lee, and say if politicians want the general public more engaged in politics, they should use electronics to engage us. Ask us, have referendums on more issues.
Online, live.
It's so easy. Yeah, it's so easy to get Ontarians' poll an opinion on things en masse. I guarantee if you polled Canadians now, what do we think about, Ontarians right now, what do you think about red light cameras?
There is not, yeah.
And you asked us all to vote, you'd get a far better turnout than 43% that voted in the election.
And on top of that, it would help you build your platform for the election. Here's what I know people want. I don't have to guess what people want.
It is. It's so antiquated.
What would it take? Well, we know what it takes, and it's not all that much to sit at a television style HD quality broadcast like Kevin and I are doing right now, and let's imagine for a second that I was one of the candidates in Niagara, and I do this hour-and-a-half show once a week professionally done, looking like I'm on CNN or NBC or CBS, you're going to tell me that that person is not going to have a leg up on the competition? Absolutely. And that's what engages the younger demographics as well. The younger demographics don't go to traditional media for the most part. They don't show up at events. They don't get on a bus to go vote at a polling station in Spadina in downtown Toronto, off the lakeshore with all that that maelstrom of traffic and time and everything else. It's a nightmare to get around the metropolitan areas of this country, where the decisions almost always come in, whether it's provincially or federally. Here in Niagara, different kind of deal. It's people are a little bit more mobile, but still, to ignore the power of professional social media is to continue to watch voter turnout decline. And it's going to continue to decline until they get it. But who changes voting policy? The sitting government. Remember when one of Trudeau's promises, when he became prime minister, he was going to completely reform voting procedure, and we weren't going to do this, what they call first past the post system. But he won because of the first past the post process. So you're going to change the rules to help somebody else? That's not too likely. So I don't know. We've got this catch-22. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. Yeah, we all know that that there is a definite need for voter reform. But who's going to really take the step forward to make that happen? The person that just got voted in because of the old system? That's a pretty tough call.
Yeah, highly unlikely. Lee, want to remind everybody that the show is wide open. If you've got anything to say on politics, or you've just got something to say about what's happening across Niagara, maybe you've got an event coming up, the Zoom link is right there in the post, and just click on that and we'll get you on. And already at the beginning of the show, we had somebody come on and she was up and telling us all about the things that concern her in her life. Lee, want to just change gears here for a second. The NRP issued an update, so to speak, on the Darren Werner disappearance.
I was just looking at his name on my page. Yeah, let's have a look at that.
Well, before we get to that, can we just touch on Katrina?
Sure.
So Katrina Blagden missing since December 31st, New Year's Eve here. Body found 3 weeks ago up in Port Dalhousie, and a funeral and a service is being held Saturday morning, and WeeStreem has volunteered our services to live stream it. So there's a picture of Katrina, and here, Lee, I'll kind of go through the steps. What an amazing girl!
But
you can navigate over to the George Dart Funeral Home, and you can get a link to Saturday's live streamed service in memory of Katrina Blagden that begins at 11 a.m.
Something Kevin brought up after one of the shows that we did, and I said, good on you, Kevin, and Brandon as well. It's Brandon Scram's company as well. And Kevin reached out to Kelly, Trina's sister, and Trina said that, oh man, that'd be just so awesome, because it's one of the things that we wanted to do, but we're in over our heads. We're like just treading water, and we had no idea how to go about it. And you've really taken some stress off the family because of that. So Kevin and WeeStream will be at George Dart Funeral Home this Saturday, did you say, Kevin?
Yeah, Saturday morning beginning at 11.
At 11. And now...
and if you go here, I'm on the George Dart Funeral Home webpage, and right there at the bottom, there's a live stream link. And if you click on that, that'll bring you over to YouTube.
Yeah. And not from a sensationalized point of view or anything, but we realize that you in the community followed this story, and your hearts followed this story ever since early January, when we realized that Katrina was missing. And so many hundreds of people have helped the search for her. So many other thousands have put best wishes and thoughts and prayers, etc., on social media following the story, and Many thousands more have watched our broadcasts as we followed the Blagdens in their search for Trina ever since New Year's Eve 2021. And so you can, by all means, share in the tribute to Trina this Saturday, and all you have to do is now the family may request that it be streamed through other venues as well, which Kevin will accommodate, but that may be something private for the family. We don't know. What you can do, though, as Kevin mentioned, as a reminder, is to go to George Dart Funeral Home's Facebook page Saturday morning, and the stream there will be for public consumption.
Sorry, I just want to correct it. It's their webpage.
I'm sorry, their webpage.
Right there.
Did I say website?
Yeah, you said Facebook page.
I'm sorry, their webpage.
But there it is right there, and you can see, and our condolences, of course, too. I mean, it feels so sad. Life is so precious that you can scroll by all of these other services that are taking place, of course, for people that have been lost across Niagara. Here's the update from the NRP, which has a curious little twist into the disappearance of Darren Werner.
You'll remember Darren Werner disappeared from Niagara-on-the-Lake quite some time ago. It was his building that burned down, his storage building that burned down, and took some other businesses with it and contents, etc. And after that, Darren was not to be found. He is still not to be found. And here's the update from the NRPS. The 58-year-old male in Niagara-on-the-Lake, this is update 3, you'll see there. They continue to search for Darren Werner. And Darren was reported missing September 17th, 2021. We're bordering on a year ago. Current whereabouts unknown. The investigation remains an open missing person investigation with suspicious circumstances. The Niagara Regional Police Homicide Unit has assumed control. Okay, now they're not just treating this as a missing person, they're treating this as a potential homicide. So the Police Homicide Unit has assumed control of the investigation. The investigators are appealing to anyone with information regarding Darren's disappearance or whereabouts to contact detectives at the usual numbers for the Niagara Regional Police Service, but there's an extension, 100-9451. And Kevin, this is going to be a mystery that is going to one day, I know, going to show up on a Dateline program or a 60 Minutes show or something like that, because this is an extreme case. This is an immediate disappearance. This is a man who had a business and a family and had a profile in his community. His business burns and he disappears. Okay. Now, obviously, law enforcement has information that they're not imparting to us. Law enforcement always withholds information because it's in their best interest, well, not their best interest, the best interest of the investigation, to not make all of their information public. So they know more than we know at the moment, but judging by this post, judging by this update, they don't know that much more. It's still damned mysterious. But that's an update all these months later.
I mean, here's the original post, September 18th, 2021.
Yeah.
So this was, I don't know the timeline, but it wasn't a day removed. This was weeks, if not months, removed from the fire that wiped out a number of businesses at
That's
that
right.
location.
It was very soon afterward. It was when, pardon the pun, the dust and ashes started to settle, and people were asking questions about insurances and compensation and how that whole thing is going to flesh out and who owes what to whom and how are we going to do this, and then Darren's gone. And I make no comment beyond that. But you can probably write a few different scripts that could be made into a movie surrounding this story, and still none of them might be accurate. Gales Gas Bars, thank you for fueling this program. They are our lead and title sponsor, as always, here on Niagara 411 Live. This is the 23rd episode of Season 3 that they've been with us, and they were with us all through Season 2, most of Season 1 as well. They are the LGBT plus registered company here in Niagara, and this is June. This is Pride Month. Is it all over Canada or just Ontario?
I think it's even bigger than that, isn't it? North America?
Global?
I don't know. And I would mention that that Gales is committed to the LGBTQ plus community. We mentioned before that they are Rainbow certified business.
Yeah. And
that image there that you see on the top of their Facebook page, that has been there for a few months.
Now, what does that mean to you? You can sit there and say, so what? What it means to you is the fact that when a company is so certified, when a company is that visual about what they support, it means that it is a safe haven for people in that community, for the LGBTQ plus community. It is a safe haven for workers as well as customers, supervisory staff and management, etc. It is an inclusively safe and welcoming environment for all people across that spectrum. So you needn't fear going into one of their businesses and being treated badly because you are who you are. Even though there are some customers that will, as we saw a couple weeks ago when we ended up having their HR manager on here to talk about it, there are some boorish customers that will come in and treat your staff in bad ways because of what they perceive to be your orientation, right or wrong. And those are the kinds of things that being a Rainbow certified company fight against. All right, so that's important. Performance Heating and Air, Carlo and the gang. Now, I guess we have definitely been getting into the air conditioning maintenance checks and balances and everything with regard to your industry. Carlo and the group do think every day about being part of the local fabric of Niagara because they have families here too. They realize that costs are not going down. The cost of living is escalating, if anything else. Just look at your grocery stores and your fuel prices and all of these other things. So they do their best to serve Niagara economically because their families are here as well. And Verge Insurance Brokers Limited, and I have to apologize to Mark Shirk because for the love of me, I meant to remember the year, but it's maybe Kevin can find it searching around back there in what he does with the magic of his technology. And Verge Insurance Group has been around in Niagara for much longer than I realized, quite a long time. And they born and bred and nurtured here in Niagara to serve all and any of your insurance needs. Darn it, because I had it locked in my head, or well, it's obviously unlocked. I had it, I thought, locked in my head as to the year that Verge was the inception of the company. So anyway, that's my bad because I thought, boom, it should be there. And they didn't even know I was going to do that. They didn't ask me to do it. It's just that I heard it and I read it and I thought, wow, I didn't know Verge Insurance Group had been around that long. But they have been.
Yeah, and it's not coming up here. You know, the interwebs, sometimes they give you what you want right away. And
Kevin, there's something going on in Niagara that's driving me a little bit bonkers and I don't agree with it. And it's all of this extra tax that is happening now in so many of our communities for accommodation or restaurants, meals, services, etc. And I realize that definitely over the the period of the COVID thing since early spring 2020 that these services, these companies, these businesses have had a tough time. I get it. But when it was announced, this happened while I was away and we didn't have a chance to talk about it, there's now going to be a 4% tax for whatever the hell it is, I don't know, placed on overnight accommodation facilities in St. Catharines. Why?
Now, what don't you like about that, Lee? Because I'll take the other side on this. No questions asked.
Why? I don't. The rooms are already. Just increase the rate of your rooms.
Right, but the money
increase the rate of your rooms.
But the money goes somewhere else.
Where?
The 4% that they're going to add now comes to the city of St. Catharines to help with promotion of events and tourism.
And have we ever seen... Let's rewind to Niagara Falls. Okay. When they put their marketing tax on. Have we ever seen an accounting of where that goes and what it does?
We do.
Now, with all
we actually do.
How?
We see them. You asked me if we ever see them. We do see them.
Where? Where do we see them?
At city council meetings. When they report back, and you can look in and it's there. So, for example...
As much as I love Wayne Thompson, don't get me wrong, Wayne's a great friend of mine, but he's been the head of the tourist, the Committee of Tourism, etc. in Niagara Falls for a long, long time. Now, Wayne has often been asked, what do you do with all the money? Where's the accounting? Where's the spreadsheet? Where's the breakdown of what happens to the hospitality tax in Niagara Falls? And that's not just on overnight accommodation. It's on hotels, motels, restaurants, the whole schlemiel schlemazel. So, where does it, what do you do with it? I still don't know.
They promote things in Niagara.
They promote things.
Yeah, I'll defend them.
I mean, things?
Lee, if you look at it, so for example, the city of St. Catharines, I think, prior to this, had a budget in the neighborhood of $300,000 for tourism, for them to actively promote coming to St. Catharines, doing things in St. Catharines, hosting your conference in St. Catharines, having your sports tournament in St. Catharines. Things like that.
That is normally part of a city budget.
That comes out of the city's budget, around $300,000.
Okay.
This 4% tax, which of course is only going to be paid by people from outside Niagara, right? It's people that are staying in Niagara.
They want to charge everybody that comes here.
Right, but the people that are staying in the hotels, that's not you and me. We live here. Right? So it's outside money that's coming in. They're now going to lop off 4%. That gets them about $1 million a year. So they just tripled their budget and all they did was get 4% more from outside money.
Okay, now
I think that's a good way to go.
Let me do point to your counterpoint. Let's say we got the Marriott Hotel in Niagara Falls. Your argument is that the only people that are going to pay a hospitality tax at the Marriott in Niagara Falls are people that are from outside Niagara.
I did not say that. I said the only people that are going to pay a 4% tax in the city of St. Catharines are from people that are outside of St. Catharines.
Okay,
Niagara Falls is a different story.
Okay.
I'll stay in a hotel. Well, that's the example you gave. Let's go to the
Days Inn in St. Catharines then.
All right, I'll agree with you.
Let's talk to the Days Inn in St. Catharines.
Nobody that lives in St. Catharines is staying at the Days Inn in St. Catharines.
Right. So, instead of charging a tax, why don't you just raise your rates? Because you're telling me it goes to the marketing of the entire city. That's what you're telling me.
Exactly.
How have I seen the entire city marketed?
You probably haven't too well because their budget's been around $300,000. Now that's going to jump to about $1 million, and it's costing the taxpayers nothing. In fact, it's saving us $300,000. And I don't think that 4% is going to dissuade somebody from staying somewhere. If you've already committed to, I mean, you see the price of gas. If you're committed to driving here, staying in a hotel, which means you're eating out all weekend because little Jimmy's got a softball tournament.
All right, now.
You're not going to balk at the 4% and say, that's it, I'm not coming anymore.
All right, well, let's not put all the blame on little Jimmy. So, and Niagara on the Lake just did something similar, and that is definitely a boutique destination in the region of Niagara. The other thing that they did as a cash grab was, and this so annoys me as a local in particular, when I go there, it's $5 an hour to park in Niagara on the Lake, Kevin. $5 an hour. You can't do anything in Niagara on the Lake in under an hour. You can't walk from your car to downtown and back in much less than an hour. This is, I'm sorry, it just doesn't, it's not right.
I don't know what to say, Lee, because small town me says you're absolutely right. Big picture me says, hey, supply and demand. You know what I pay when WeeStream goes down to Ashbridges Bay in Toronto?
I know what you're going to say, but we're not Toronto.
No, but Toronto's $30. Not an hour, but it costs me $30 to park in a lot.
But not an hour.
No, but it costs me $30.
But if I spend 5 hours in Niagara on the Lake,
it's going to cost you $25. Just saved yourself $5
instead of driving to Toronto.
I'm just saying, Lee, that it's supply and demand. And again, is the $5 an hour going to keep people away from Niagara on the Lake? I don't think so. What it might do is push them to the side streets. I'm not saying it's right.
It's going to keep Niagarans away from Niagara on the Lake.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It'd be nice if they could figure out some sort of balance between locals don't have to pay.
It's going to the same way as the damn beaches as what's happening here and the plans for going to the beaches in Niagara. And all of that was fueled by COVID. None of it has to happen. None of these fees and everything that they're doing now with the beaches in Niagara has to be happening now. None of these problems existed prior to COVID. Well, COVID is done. Nobody's paying any attention to it anymore. And now we've got these fees and processes and regulations, and you can't go to the effing beach?
I've never heard of that beach. I go to Sunset Beach.
Oh, the effing beach. It's a great beach.
Okay, I should try that.
Yeah.
Lee, wanted to just kind of get off of this and remind people.
Fine.
Remind people they can join the show whenever they want. The Zoom link is right there in the post. If you want to rant or rave or say whatever you want to talk about parking, all you have to do is click that link and we'll get you on the show.
Damn.
Lee, a lot of interesting stuff, and we kind of touched on it earlier, but want to go back to the community page of 411 because there's lots of nuggets there, and if people don't know what we're talking about, you click on the community tab right there on the top.
Yeah, see?
Let's get to that. And you scroll down, and I mean, we talked about this one briefly, about the two trees.
That's sad. I mean, I get the funeral homes policies, but what a beautiful place of rest for those two people, and those trees have to be torn out because they're over 3 feet tall.
I mean, you get to hear somebody doesn't know what to contact. I mean, pretty simple issue, but it's a place where people bring it to their attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you read that one, Lee?
Oh, did you want me to?
Well, yeah.
I was just reading it along with everybody else. Shattered glass all over Glengarry Park. Who do we contact to get this cleaned up? Well, that would be a good question. One would assume. Oh, and that's a kids' park too. That's not good. One would assume the Public Works Department of whatever city hall you need to contact.
Yeah, that'd be my guess. Here, did you see this on the weekend?
Oh, yeah. There've been a lot of planes flying over our lakes and regions. Anyone know what these are for? They were so loud when they flew over. Some sort of training exercise, or.
I mean, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
In
choppers.
In some sort of formation, right?
Yeah, it looks like MASH. That was my favorite opening of a TV show, was MASH, where the helicopters came over the hill, and they use the Great Lakes often as training areas in the skies because it's got water, because it's got land, because it's got many different currents, it's got 2 different countries, and there's so much to learn for both sea and air and land training for safety and service people and military. So, yeah, They could be training for anything at all or just learning the area, you know.
And we got this here from
Okay.
Letta Lou.
Does anyone recognize this man? This is off Ontario Avenue in Niagara Falls, caught on camera stealing our new shrink hose. Who does that? Who steals
Look
somebody's?
at that. He's literally got it over his shoulder.
Who steals somebody's hose? I mean,
You ever seen that before? Like,
no, and I don't want to see it again. What kind of a society is it? Oh, a hose. I need a hose. I'll take this one. You dip.
I thought he was, like, when I zoomed in, I thought I was going to see him with an Amazon box. And it just so happened there was he's playing the Amazon Porch Pirate lottery. Let's see what I get. But this is, he just unscrewed the hose from the side of the house.
And just took it away. Speaking of stealing, and I know this isn't Niagara, but it's something that plagues us as well. Over the last number of months, there have been many carjackings. It was a carjacking, epidemic in Toronto. And, various communities around Toronto. It was just yesterday that I heard that two young men, actually one not even a man, he's classified as a teen, a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old, two males, they have been charged with over 100 offenses between them for all of the carjackings that they have been involved with in that community. 100 charges or more. And these vehicles, most car thefts, the OPP and RCMP will tell you that most car thefts in Canada are high-end vehicles that end up from your driveway to a boat overseas in the matter of hours. They're usually high-end vehicles, they're usually purchased on the black market, and they're usually shipped out of the country. This was not that case. The case here was these vehicles were very normal, everyday soccer mom type vehicles that, soccer moms, I know that's a phrase and I don't mean it to be offensive, just everyday sort of commuter type vehicles.
We're dads too. I'm bringing Alex to soccer today.
Soccer dads vehicles, yeah. That were supposed to be, they believe, used to commit other crimes. So they would carjack, say, a Dodge Caravan, park it somewhere, throw another set of plates on it or something, and then go rob a convenience store or whatever.
Yeah, but carjacking's so much different than stealing a car in the middle of the night.
Well, you're traumatizing people.
Yeah, carjacking is, I've got a gun or a weapon, I threaten you through the window.
Yeah.
Or wait for you to open the door to a gas station.
Crime.
Absolutely. It's, hey, give me your car.
Yeah. So a cumulative number of charges of 100 for these two males, 117, 119. Damn. There's a couple of lives ruined right there. Yeah. Poof. We talked about Trina and we talked about Darren Werner. And there is still the mystery here in Niagara, and it breaks our hearts, of Nick Adamson, who went missing from that club in Feulled. What was the date, Kevin?
It was the morning of St. Paddy's Day.
St. Paddy's Day.
So the morning of March 17th. So he wasn't out celebrating St. Paddy's Day. It was the day before.
So it's now almost 3 months since Nick went missing. He was inebriated. He was outside on the phone. He was not allowed to come back into the club because it was closing time. It was last call. His friends did not see where he went or if he went or what happened. And it's, again, one of those situations where someone seems to have virtually vanished from the face of the earth. And we don't want to forget about Nick. And at some point, perhaps by next week, we'll bring his brother. We've had his brother and his family on chatting about this.
And here, I remember seeing this search. from a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, they were down in, I think this is one of the old canals. This might be one of the old locks. And people were standing in waist deep water searching.
That's scary right there. That is an old lock in the Welland Canal, and the water is just pouring through there like multiple waterfalls, and that's powerful stuff. Man. We have often no appreciation, or at least we take for granted, the power of nature that we live in and around here in Niagara. It's absolutely a phenomenal place. A beautiful place, but also sometimes terrifying and treacherous, depending on how you approach it. Just, so Nicholas Adamson, where are you? To his family, I can't send enough condolence to you for again that not knowing. To Trina Blagden's family, now you know. I don't know how much you know, and there may be things you know that we don't, and that might be probably the case. Again, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, it still bothers me that the constabulary has not made public some things that I believe they should make public, in the fact that no foul play, and that's it, it's all over. Well, wait a minute. It's not all over. Thousands of people were engaged in this story, care about this young woman and her family and her story. And we don't know the story. Is it our right to know? I guess not. But gee, I don't know. I don't think we're doing her honor by not telling her complete story, or at least as complete a story as we know it to be. We may never know the complete story, but there's more to know than we currently know, if that makes any kind of sense.
No, it does. You're spot on. And again, people are invested. People are emotionally invested.
Yeah, that's it. Like we've invested our own emotions into this,
and nobody bought that story from the NRP. So that's where we feel, as a public, maybe we deserve a little more.
There's something more here, guys. I mean, there's an old expression. I didn't make it up, but it's one of my favorites. Don't piss in my boot and tell me it's raining. We're not that stupid.
No. In fact, Lee, we're pretty wise on this program, and I'm trying to scroll back because earlier this week we talked about a story 2 weeks ago about that GMC Yukon.
Yeah.
That smashed into a house, the front of the house.
I'm sorry to laugh. This is a great story.
And I'm just scrolling down 411 to see the NRP update where charges were finally laid. And at the time, Lee, and we were talking about it on the show, we're like, hey, kidding me? This is the story they fed you and you bought it?
And you bought it.
There's no way that's actually how things...
Well, I guess until you disprove it, you got to kind of think it might be.
No, but that's exactly. Don't piss in my boot and tell me it's raining.
Yeah, so a great big honking SUV, and they don't come much bigger than a Yukon, bashes into a house. All right? And the guy that's apparently the person that was driving the truck runs away. Okay? So apparently, as the story goes, the people in the house and the guy were having a few pops at a bar down the street. Okay? So the folks are now in their house, and the truck comes plowing into their house. Okay. And apparently the driver of the vehicle bolts. When law enforcement arrives, the owner of the stolen vehicle is now on site.
So he just happened to be there.
As if by magic. And the man, the male that was in the house was injured. The female, as I understand it, Kevin, was not injured.
Yeah, you're right.
But the owner was on site saying, hey, my truck was stolen from down there, and this dude in a hoodie ran away. Okay then. Now, that's the scene. Now
there it is right there. This the guy that was in the house, Clark, sent this to me. He says it's still there. The Yukon is still there today.
Today?
Well, I don't know. He sent me this a couple days ago. So, but as you can see, he's cleared out his apartment, and the truck is still there.
Okay, but there's more. The addendum to this is, as a result of the investigation, officers were able to identify a male suspect driver. Further information was also obtained that the involved SUV was driving in a dangerous manner in the moments leading up to the collision. Duh. Okay, so May 27th, officers attended to St. Catharines' home and arrested, oh look, the registered owner of the SUV. Chaz McLean Hill, 32 years old, of St. Catharines, has been arrested and charged with the criminal offense of dangerous operation of a motor vehicle, impaired operation of a motor vehicle. McLean Hill was released from custody with a future court date. And it's the usual anyone with information, blah, blah. So, the fellow driving the car in a hoodie that escaped is a fabrication. Allegedly. Life is really stranger than fiction, isn't it? But why is the damn truck still there?
I have no idea, Lee.
The fellow that called you, did he own this place or was he renting this place?
He was renting.
Okay, so he's moved out then.
Well, barely. He's in a tough spot. I think he's found accommodations now, but if you think of it, I mean, you're renting. I don't know what his renter's insurance situation was like, but the fire marshals or whatever on the scene deemed the house inhabitable. So he had to leave. And
yeah, he couldn't stay there.
I think he was living in a U-Haul truck for a few days. And this guy is just a victim of circumstance. He was sleeping. I mean, here, I can show you.
Okay, but did he know the owner? Were they also down? They weren't involved in visiting at the bar? No,
the guy was just sleeping. I mean, here he was right here. I'll show you.
And this dude just drove into his house.
Yeah, so the red line that he wrote there, that was his bed. So his bed was right there.
That is one hell of a wake-up call, isn't it?
And that's the truck coming in. He said he was so close that the engine fluid was leaking onto him, was spraying onto him.
Wow.
And he was that far away from basically being really seriously injured. And he got a girl in the bed. I want to say his girlfriend or wife or what have you. She was there. And, of course, yeah, outside, I mean, the story right from the onset was like, my car got stolen, but you happen to be on scene. That's weird.
Because I ran all the way from the bar.
And the guy that was driving the car, not sure, wearing a dark hooded sweatshirt, and he ran that away. And that person was never found. I mean, I'm glad he didn't go, so full as to go full racial profiling and accusing them of being an African American or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to accuse, why not up your lie? Like, where does the lie stop?
You got to give them points for creativity, though. How can I talk my way out of this from impaired and reckless and all those other charges that he has since been charged with? But then again, as far as the cops are concerned, it's don't piss in my boot and tell me it's raining. No, this did not happen that way.
Yeah. Now, on a lighter side, Niagara 411 in our community.
That was pretty light side, frankly.
Well, this is a little lighter than that because we were searching for a guy, but we were searching for this guy yesterday.
All right, yeah. So speaking of our beaches, looking to find Nick Patrick put this up, of course, our boy Nick, looking to find the gentleman in this photo so we can pass along the photos to him. Taken at 8:30 last night at Sunset Beach in St. Catharines. So there's a dude. Is he walking a dog?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's walking dogs.
That's a nice picture.
Walking a couple of dogs. It is a nice picture. So somebody took it, and they talked to the guy, did they not?
Yeah, they said they talked to him, but they forgot to get his info.
All right. They figured they'd remember his name, but then they ended up probably forgetting it. And they want to send him the pictures because they're nice pictures. Now somebody on the somebody in the comments enhanced that photo, did they not?
Yeah, and I had a hard time finding it. I'm not sure if they deleted it, but they did something on their computer where all of a sudden, they changed the light balance and you could see everything. You could see the T-shirt he's wearing, exactly who the guy is. But here, people seem to know him just from...
The photographer spoke with the man but forgot to get his information. Carolyn says, this is my neighbor. I'll tell him to visit this page and connect. So they'll track him down. They know him. If he walks his dog along there, he probably does it every day.
And then this year, is it really necessary for negative comments? Don't understand
what negative comments? What does that mean?
I don't know. These pics are beautiful. Somebody says, I think it's Dustin from Stranger Things. Okay, ha ha ha.
Also, people think they're cute. What is wrong with people? A nice gesture by this person and all these stupid comments. I didn't see the stupid comments, but I don't get what's wrong with it.
By them, but,
people with
people with spot on picture right there.
Yeah, people with too much time on their hands will always find something to criticize. But there's just a guy walking his dog in a beautiful sunset evening at Sunset Beach.
Everybody knows somebody. This comment here that's so nice that you want to give these to him. I see him on walks often. He's a nice man and his dog is adorable. Next time I see him, I'll let him know.
There you go.
Great lettuce. Are you familiar with that, Lee?
Great lettuce.
Do you know what that means?
I have to admit, here I stand ignorant.
So lettuce is more like a sports/hockey term for long hair.
Really?
Yep. So as you see there, he's definitely hanging out below the hat.
Yeah, well, I had some lettuce in my time.
Yeah, we all did. So there you go. That guy's got the great lettuce going.
I have never heard that term in my life. Coming up, by the way, at the bottom of the hour, we always have a local link to the entertainment that we end the program with to, as I say, play us off the stage. Laurel and Hully. I have to make sure I do not call them Laurel and Hardy like the comedy do. Laurel and Hully are going to be doing, they're a Niagara duo, and they're going to be doing a song called Own Way that they filmed live on Merritt Island in Welland. So hang around till the end of the show and you'll have a chance to see the video and hear the song Own Way by Laurel and Hully. Kevin, what's WeeStream got going on? You guys have been getting busier and busier. You've been preempting me from time to time.
Yeah, we have been fairly busy. On Saturday, again, we're so happy when we can give back to the community, and we're volunteering our time and our services to Katrina Blagden's family. And we will be there at George Dart Funeral Home, making sure that friends, family, and of course military colleagues across Canada and even, around the world are able to tune in live, and that's 11 a.m. on a Saturday morning. If anybody is moved and feels like watching the service, the link is available on the George Dart Funeral Home webpage.
And you will be, I'm assuming you, along with Nick, will be updating details on that on Niagara 411, if and when it becomes, like, if the family wishes.
Exactly, and that's all we're doing. We're just going with family wishes. And, I don't really want to reach out to Kelly or Mother Bonnie with each and every little detail.
No.
So I did talk to Kelly in great length earlier this week. We had a great conversation, and we just talked about the ins and outs. And again, the family was super happy that WeeStream was stepping up.
And I don't want you to give up any confidential information or anything to out the chat, but how are they doing, Kevin, from your conversation behind the scenes? How are they?
I don't know that I'm the one that can really comment on that, Lee. You have a conversation and it seems fine, but I imagine that's on the surface.
Yeah.
I do know, though, that the family is not resting, and like a lot of people, I don't know that they're accepting the current state of the investigation.
Well,
I would go that far.
Hopefully, once we get past the emotional day, which will be Saturday, and the family can settle a bit, we can have some semblance of that conversation here on the show.
Yeah. Lee, we are going to get to Laurel and Hully coming up in just a minute as we wrap up the program. But I just know this guy through social media, but Stephen Sues from Welland has joined the program, and we invite anyone onto the show.
Stephen Sues, how you doing today? Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Hey,
How is everyone this morning?
I'm having a hard time here.
Yeah, we're good. We're good, Stephen.
Good. I only have a few moments. I chose to dial in, but I wanted to update the residents of Niagara and my hometown of Welland, of course, that we successfully got the state of emergency for mental health, homelessness, and addiction declared in the city of Feulled. Feulled Council directed Mayor Terry Ugolini to declare an emergency on mental health, homelessness, and addiction in the city of Feulled. He did what the region refused to do. They used procedural tricks to kibosh our motion, and the city of Feulled didn't stand for it, and it was a unanimous decision, and now people are going to get the help that they need now, not 10 years from now.
Well, that's kudos, I guess, then to the city of Feulled.
And I encourage all municipalities to do the same. And the correspondence from Feulled will be circulated to all Niagara area municipalities.
Okay.
So they have two options. Their mayors can declare exclusively, or they can pull the correspondence and endorse the resolution from Feulled.
All right. Thank you for the information. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Stephen.
Great. I'll come on some other time to continue to update the public on such an important issue. And next stop is Doug Ford, everyone.
All right. I think Kevin has a question for you.
Yeah, just before we let you go, Stephen, what is that? What exactly does that mean? Declaring a state of emergency in the city of Feulled. You said it's going to help people, dealing with mental health issues, get the treatment that they need. So what does this declaration do, and how does it change things?
So the difference between the acknowledged crisis motion that the region passed, and since that motion, it was a watered down motion that did nothing, because opiate overdoses almost doubled in this region since the time that motion was passed. What the state of emergency does is, within the 2008 Ontario Response Plan and reflected in emergency management legislation, it says that the province legally has to respond to the emergency. So they legally have to provide a response, whereas other motions, they can simply put them in the file them for G for garbage or ignore them.
Gotcha.
So this one legally mandates them, and we were able to implement the state of emergency, even though regional council said no. It is a head of council that can declare emergencies. So mayors count as a head of council, therefore qualifies them to declare emergencies. They can do it unilaterally, but I wanted to involve council through a directive because I want everyone vested and involved in this issue. Yeah, it was pretty sad that 96 politicians supported the state of emergency, and it only took 20 politicians to kill it. But we righted the wrong, and we got people the help they need. Looks like there were a lot of unhappy customers at the local level in terms of councillors.
And Stephen, let me just ask you. I mean, I know that you're working hand in hand with Councillor Wayne Campbell from the city of Niagara Falls, who he and his family have dealt with some tragedy due to mental health, and you've been pretty open yourself about some of your struggles. How are you doing now, and how has your journey been? Have you received treatment when you've needed it?
You know what? It's very hard, right? Because the wait lists are incredibly long. You know, it takes a lot of time, and when you're going through these issues, it makes it difficult to get help, right? It's self-sabotage. You know, you want to get the help, but you also don't, right? Because you sabotage yourself through underlying mental health and addiction issues. So it's extremely hard. But I had some beautiful people assist me in safe beds. What a great program. You only get about 3 to 5 days there. I wish through the state of emergency, that'll be one of our requests, to extend those kind of programs, because people make a lot of progress in there.
Right.
So yes, it's very difficult, but I'm currently going through what's called the stages of change, where, somebody comes into their sober self and everything changes around them. And, it's a very challenging time, but my medicine is fighting for the people of Niagara and people who have, people who have been affected by the same issues as I have.
It sounds like you are fighting an eloquent fight. You're spoken very well, your support for the cause, and I'm really glad that you came in on the program today, and it's obviously something that's really important across all our municipalities. Again, thumbs up to Feulled for doing something to support your movement, or the movement, if you will. And Steve, we'll talk to you more going forward, okay? I appreciate your eloquent presentation. You stated your case really well. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, as always, Niagara 411.
Okay, pal. See ya. What a passionate, well-spoken young man, Kevin, for all the challenges that he has. He knows where he's going.
Yeah, and I mean, Stephen has run for office in various capacities over the years. And I hope one day he is able to garner the support to put him in office. He seems like he's, if nothing else, dedicated and
passionate about and this is what we need when it, sorry to cut you off.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. But
this is what we need when it comes to political representation. We need people with, even if it's a one-issue campaign, and a lot of times politicians run on a one-issue campaign anyway. But even if it is a one-issue campaign, if that person is passionate and knowledgeable and has the drive and energy to continue to push that one agenda item forward, what's wrong with that in our world of politics? I think we need more of that. We need more passion.
You know what? I would say, Lee, and I live and work in a lot of these council chambers, and I know there's a big push in Niagara to get better representation by women. I think we need a much broader representation en masse, and that is people from different backgrounds, people who have struggled with different things in their lives.
Yes.
Right now, the
perspective.
Exactly.
Perspective
exactly right.
is everything.
So it's not just women. It's BIPOC. It's people with histories of mental illness. People who have gone through different journeys than you and I have. I mean, two parents, white picket fence does not make a balanced council.
But it's not cost free to run for politics. You can't just sign, I want to run for such and such. You got to pay up. You got to do the thing. You got to pay the piper. You got to do. It costs a lot of money to just put yourself forward as a candidate. This inhibits an awful lot of good people from saying, "Hey, I can't. I got some ideas, but I can't afford that."
And I'll tell you something else, Lee. As somebody on the inside, is that at a municipal level, our councilors are greatly undercompensated. They're underpaid. Like, I'm sorry, I see the work that they do, and I know on the outside people might say, "Oh, come on, the politicians, they are so busy." At a municipal level, they have to deal with so much. They have to deal with you and I on a daily basis and know and understand so many different issues.
How much reading do they have to do if they actually read it? If they actually read everything, like if a municipal councilor actually, or a regional councilor, whatever, actually read every line of every document, of every piece that crossed their desk, they'd be doing nothing but reading.
And their compensation would work out to about $1 an hour.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
And if you think of it, I mean, with most councils in the region bubbling at around $20,000 a year, it really prohibits anybody that's pre-retirement, like anybody that's below 60 years old, from getting into it, because you simply can't afford to do it. You have to go to work. You have to bring the kids.
We got younger people, for heaven's sake, 30s, 40s, and I call people in their 30s and 40s young, if they are to me, that can't buy a house. They're trying to work to buy a house, put a roof over their head for their families, and you're going to say run for politics and represent your demographic? What are you, nuts?
Right, and how am
I supposed to do that?
And how's the 70-year-old guy really empathetic? What are you talking about? You can't get a house. All my friends have houses.
Yeah.
Like, they just,
Well, they don't care about.
It's not that they don't care.
You'll get my house when I die.
They don't walk in those circles, right?
I know. So this low voter turnout, qualified and experienced and capable people for political candidacy, all of these things is an enigma wrapped up in a conundrum. It's not easy. It's not a simple solution by any stretch of the imagination. And it's getting, as our economy tightens and inflation expands and the world global economy changes, it's not getting easier. to be well represented. And I appreciate the people that step up and take a stand and say, hey, okay, I'll throw my proverbial hat in the ring, but I don't know what good I can do, but I'll give it a shot.
Lee, it's getting
that
past
time.
lunchtime. I invite anybody to come down to Fiddler's Poorhouse, say hi to Mel, who we always love working the day shift down here, and join us as well, because I'm getting hungry, I'm getting thirsty, and I think it's time.
Thank you to Gales Gas Bars for fueling this program. WeeStream, of course, Kevin, for powering this show. To Performance Heating and Air, Virgin Insurance Group, Nick at Niagara 411, Nick's mom, and all of you contributors and all of you who support us. Thank you so much, and always feel free to comment. You'll see snippets of this show on In Case You Missed It posts over the course of the week. Always feel free to contact us through comments, and we would love to hear or see anything that you have to say. My name is Lee Sterry. This has been episode 23 of season 3. Thanks for being here. Laurel and Holly and Own Way, filmed live at Merritt Island here in Niagara. Enjoy the music and enjoy the week, and we'll see you actually next Wednesday instead of Thursday. Wednesday next week, okay? Cheers.
Well, I can't take all the credit, the way things are today. Keep the weight of the world in the back of your pocket. There's things that you could break. Now you could dance, you could sing, you could let your body go, and you could fall into the flow and let it be. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Go on, dance to the beat of the band in the summer, dance to the heat and the man. If you wanna dance, you gotta do it your own way. Go on, dance to the beat of the band in the summer, dance to the heat and the man. If you wanna dance, you gotta do it your own way. 'Cause I can't be everywhere, no, I can't do everything, but I could take control of the thoughts in my mind. I could let my freedom ring. I could dance, I could sing, I could let myself unwind, and I could try to find some time to just believe. Do 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 do. Go on, dance to the beat of the band in the summer, dance to the heat and the man. If you wanna dance, you gotta do it your own way. Go on, dance to the beat of the band in the summer, dance to the heat and the man. If you wanna dance, you gotta do it your own way. Go on, dance to the beat of the band in the summer, dance to the heat and the man. If you wanna dance, gotta do it your own